This is unusual for me. I said, I'm alone in my apartment right now because my mom and my uncle they went to go get they brought a secondary car, so we brought a secondary car as a backup, so that if one car goes down, then we have another one to get to and from everywhere. So they went to go pick up the secondary car that they just purchased. So they're gonna be gone for like an hour or two. So it gives me time to film my videos on YouTube without being fucking interrupted as always. But let's get to the main part of what we're gonna talk about today. Um, Fat Ass 45's erratic behavior continues as he halts stimulus talks and spreads falsehoods on the pandemic. Fat Ass 45's behavior has become increasingly erratic since he left the hospital after he suddenly blew up congressional talks on a COVID-19 economic rescue package and falsely claimed that the coronavirus was no worse than the flu, as chaos rocks a super spreader White House. With uncertainty still clouding official bulletins of the fat ass's condition, there is what they refer to as bewilderment in Washington at some of his irresponsible and politically questionable moves since he was discharged on Monday. But a defiant fat ass 45 continues to portray himself as a hero leader who conquered COVID-19 and is chasing his own political goals, while ignoring the human and economic toll of the virus, which has now sent the top Pentagon generals into quarantine. The fat ass has gone on a lengthy Twitter spree on Wednesday morning with his first tweet at 8:18 a.m. He had tweeted or retweeted more than 50 times, mostly false claims about the Democrats. By reinforcing his denial of a national emergency that has killed more than 215,000 Americans, Fat Ass 45 is adopting a high-risk strategy that potentially offends the bereaved relatives of those who died from the disease and almost everyone else who has seen their lives, school and family life shattered. By squelching the economic rescue talks, he leaves himself open to charges of indifference to the plight of millions of Americans that have been thrown out of work during the pandemic and who relied on now expired federal unemployment benefits. The Democratic nominee, Joe Biden, had seized on the sense that the fat ass's White House is running off the rails to pledge to restore national unity and to lead the nation out of the pandemic. Following in Abraham Lincoln's footsteps and warning America was against a house divided on the battlefield at Gettysburg, the scene of the Civil War's bloodiest clash. Fat Ass 45's latest attempts to downplay the virus, even as he is on a regimen of strong and experimental drugs to fight his own infection, are sure to be a centerpiece of Wednesday night's debate between Vice President the dumbass Mike Pence, and the Democratic presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris of California. The fat ass on Tuesday also made his most flagrant public attempt yet to force regulations to accelerate the approval of several COVID-19 vaccines that are currently being trialed in an effort to help his own re-election prospect. The move followed a CNN report that the fat ass has been personally pressuring drug companies to deliver on a vaccine before Election Day comes up. New FDA rules make it more difficult for them to speed up vaccines for approval before Election Day. It's just another political hit job, Fat Ass 45 tweeted at U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn. FDA rules require several months to elapse after patients are administered the last dose of a prototype vaccine to ensure that there are no serious side effects. The practice is designed to maximize public trust in a vaccine in the best hope of ending the pandemic. The polls show has already been dented by Fat Ass 45's politicization of the issue. Fat Ass 45's own administration, meanwhile, is becoming a glaring symbol of his own irresponsible approach to the crisis. The White House domestic policy advisor, white supremacist Stephen Miller, is the latest top official to test positive, bringing the number of COVID-19 cases among White House officials to at least 11, if not more. A fourth press aide to White House spokesperson Kayleigh McEnema is also at home with COVID-19, also has the virus. After blazing through the West Wing, Fat Ass 45's allies on Capitol Hill and in his campaign, the virus has reached the highest echelons of the U.S. military. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, Chairman Mark Milley, and several other senior members of the Pentagon's leadership are quarantining after the Vice Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, Admiral Charles Ray, tested positive on Monday. Ray was at the White House on September 27th and later met other top military officials. In a new memo released on midday Wednesday, Fat Ass 45's doctor relayed that the fat ass saying that he felt great and reported he had been symptom-free for 24 hours. Yeah, bullshit. But the memo declined again to provide critical information such as when Fat Ass 45 last tested negative and what his lung scans show and whether he is still on the steroid dexamethasone or any other medications that could be making his symptoms or masking his symptoms. New Washington cases of COVID-19 came on a day when the fears of the public health experts that a fall and winter spike in the disease is materializing came closer on being realized. By mid-evening, another 38,000 cases of coronavirus were recorded, along with 603 deaths. The administration descended further into an open chaos on the eve of the debate in Utah between Harris and Pence, incredibly, given that he is the head of the coronavirus task force and that he works in an administration riddled with COVID-19. Dumbass Pence initially balked the use of plexiglass screens in the debate that are now familiar at shops and offices to prevent the spread of the virus when social distancing is not possible. His campaign also mocked his opponent for taking advantage of the precaution. Screens protecting Harris. The moderator and the audience will graphically repudiate Fat Ass 25's argument that the pandemic is almost over and it is time to move on, which it's not. Uproar over Fat Ass 25's behavior, including his strange victory lap over his own case of COVID-19 when he tore off his mask and saluted his departing Marine helicopter on Monday night, is making it impossible for the Fat Ass to rest the focus of an election now less than 4 weeks away from the pandemic. Biden told reporters Tuesday that if Fat Ass 45 is still infected, they should not do the debate in Miami next week. If he still has COVID, we shouldn't have the debate at all. As Democrats seek to lock in their nominee's advantage, Biden was up 16 points in a new CNN SSRS national poll on Tuesday, and former First Lady Michelle Obama issued a closing argument on his half, calling Fat Ass 45's actions morally wrong and racist. One day after the Fat Ass returned from the hospital, Fat Ass 45's official, Navy Commander Dr. Sean Conley, issued another upbeat assessment of his condition, reporting that the Fat Ass was doing extremely well and had reported no symptoms. Mystery, however, still surrounds Fat Ass 45's lung infection after he appeared to be laboring after walking up the stairway to the balcony above the White House's south portico on Monday. There are also no clear answers still on how bad his condition got, with medical experts wondering why the Fat Ass was offered an aggressive regime of experimental treatments reserved only for the sickest COVID-19 patients. The White House is also refusing to say when Fat Ass 25 last tested negative before he got sick. That question is important because it would reveal whether the Fat Ass went ahead with the campaign travel and other risks that could have put many people at risk in the knowledge that he was contagious. But there is no sign that Fat Ass 45's own bout with the disease has made him a more responsible steward of the nation's well-being at a grave moment. He returned to his previous and misleading position that the coronavirus is no more deadly than the flu. In fact, the pandemic has killed more Americans so far than that's succumbed to the season influenza over the last 5 years. Are we going to close down our country? Fat Ass 45 tweeted, referring to the flu. No, we have learned to live with it. Just like we are learning to live with COVID. In most populations, it's far less lethal. At least that's what his claim is. In another eruption from the White House, Fat Ass 45 suddenly announced that he had halted talks between his team and the Democrats in Capitol Hill on the long-delayed new stimulus and relief package that's really much needed. He says, I have instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until after the election, when immediately after I win, which you won't, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hard-working Americans and small businesses. Fat Ass 45 tweeted, yeah, quit lying, you fucking fat fuck. The Fat Ass maintains the Democrats are trying to load up the package with unnecessary aid for what he sees as wasteful blue states. He told Senate Majority Leader Moscow Mitch, a Kentucky Republican, to concentrate instead on confirming his Supreme Court pick, the dumb cunt Amy Coney Barrett. The move appeared to be an attempt to blame Democrats for the failure to provide economic relief and to extend desperately needed unemployment benefits, but it was a puzzling gambit by Fat Ass 45, who has fallen further behind in the polls with the election fast approaching, and who opened himself up to blame for halting the torturous talks on the package. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was quick to exploit the opportunity, saying that the White House was in complete disarray, which it is. Today, once again, Fat Ass 45 showed his true colors, putting himself first at the expense of the country, with the full complicity of the Republican members of Congress, Pelosi said. Walking away from the coronavirus talks demonstrates that Fat Ass 45 is unwilling to crush the virus. Fat Ass 45's decision meant another headache for vulnerable Republicans running for re-election as Democrats seek to take back the Senate. One of their number, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, who was locked in a tight race, called the Fat Ass's order a huge mistake, and the Fat Ass sparked but they called fresh questions over whether he was fully up to speed on the situation when he tweeted "true" while commenting on a CNBC report that the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell had said that Congress must do more to support the economy. Of course, Fat-ass 45's own intervention means that Congress will not come to the rescue, and he added to the confusion late Tuesday night by calling on Congress to pass a $25 billion package to support airline payrolls and the $35 billion Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. Yeah, like he gives a shit about anybody but himself. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Ryan Van Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.